A good Woche, Rabbi Sai. We finished off the Mordecai day talking about the northern part of the Azar. You see, that's the Mizbeach, and everything from the end of the Mizbeach to the top of the screen is the north. The Mashal, here, this is the north. In the green box is the north. All the Gemara is doing now is learning how do you know that a oila, chatas, asham, all the karbanas you have to shecht in the northern part of the screen. There's a machlokes. Is it also in the blue box? Is it also in the purple box? But that's the north. So says the Gemara 6 lines from the bottom. Ashkechon shchita ba'oila lemitzvah. The main pasuk. You can even see the pasuk here on the bottom. V'shochat oisa yerech hamizbeach tzafoina lefnei Hashem. Tzafoina is north. You should take the oila and shecht it in the north. Says the Gemara, we know in Kachim, when the Torah says it once, it means it's a good idea. Only if the Torah says it twice is it ma'akev. It's a must. So says the Gemara, Ashkechon shchita ba'oila lemitzvah, Kabbalah nami lemitzvah Ashkechon. We also saw that there's a mitzvah to receive the blood. But how do you know by your oila, which is the source? This is the source. How do you know by oila? If you don't do it, it's not a good oila. Omer Avada Barahava, Vitemer Rabba Barshilo, Kavachoymer. Umachatas Abba Mekoyach oila Makeves. Have a Kavachoymer. Chatas. We know, we had also yesterday that a chatas, if you don't do it in the north, it's ma'akev. Oila shaba chatos mikoicha in adin shemakeves. Where do you know chatos from? You know chatos from oila. The whole source is this pasuk that you see on the screen. Oh, if I go like that, it goes on the screen. Great. If I go like that, no. Okay. Anyways, the pasuk on the bottom, that's by oila, and the chatos I learned from the oila. So if chatos is ma'akev, certainly it should be ma'akev the oila. Says the Gemara, maybe there's a special halacha that it's ma'akev, it's no good, because chatas is powerful. It has the ability to forgive those who are chayiv kares. Omer Avina, this is givaldik. This is what he was trying to say. How is it possible that the source is less chomer than what you're learning? You're learning chatas from oila, and you're telling me that the source, the oila, is less than the chatas? It's not ma'akev, but the chatas is? It makes no sense. So we have a gevaldik Gemara here that only lasts for like 10 lines, but it's gevaldik. Says the Gemara, yeah, I'll bring you 3 examples where how do you say the opposite of the source? The outcome, what's the word? The output. Oh, the source and the output. Okay. I'm going to go now with the output for the lack of a Veloy Vari Meiser. Rabbi Sai, all of you know this video, but for the new guys that have never watched the shir, Meiser Sheni. I can't even say it. I said it 1,000 times. Okay, we'll say it. Guy has a pile of produce. From every 100, he has to give 2 to the kohen. That's truma. Then he has to take 10 and give that to the Levi. And on years 1, 2, 4, 5 of Shemitah, he gives another 10% to who? To himself. It's called Meiser Sheni. Now it's too heavy. He has way too much produce. So what does he do? He changes, he redeems it into cash, into money. And the money he takes up to Yerushalayim. So as the Gemara, Vari Meiser du Nivdo, the Meiser Sheni itself, if it becomes Tamei itself, you can redeem it. Vilu lekuach bekesef Meiser eni Nivdo. But what you purchase with that money is more chomer than the source, the output. What you purchase with the money, the output, is more severe than the source. The The source you can redeem, but the output, if you buy steak with the money in Yerushalayim and it becomes tamei, you cannot redeem. This na no lekuach because of ma'aser shenitma. If it becomes tamei yipada, you should be paid. Rabbi Yehuda you cover. According to Rabbi Yehuda, though, it's more chomer. You have to bury it. I'll tell you a little mashal that I thought today. I don't know if somebody has a better mashal. I couldn't come up with a better one. Let's say somebody, a mad scientist, clones a sheep. Clones a sheep. He's able to take this sheep A and clone it to B. Now he goes and he tries to clone B and it doesn't work. He tried to clone it, it's not good. He could only clone A and make B, but once he goes to B, he can't clone it. Is that a maila or chazarah? And is B strong or B is weak? Huh? It's weak. That's what the Gemara is saying here, basically. The fact that you cannot redeem the outsource, the output, but you could redeem the source, is not because the output is strong. It's weak. That's why you can't redeem it. It doesn't have enough gedusha for you to redeem it. Okay. As the Gemara of Ariel Tmura, what's Tmura? The famous Tmura, that you cannot take a broken-legged animal and make it into any carbon. There's no such thing. You cannot say, you broken-legged animal should be an Eilah. It doesn't work. You broken-legged animal or any mum, one of the 24 mum, you cannot be a Eilah chatas Hashem. But there is one thing that it can be. What? Tmura. If you already have an existing animal that's a carbon, that's a Eilah, and you look at your broken-legged animal in the hospital bed and you say, it should be a Tmura, poof, it turns into a Eilah. That's how you can make a broken-legged animal into a Eilah. Isn't that the source? To be an Eilah, you can't make it an Eilah. But to be a Tmura, to be the output, that you could do. So we're saying, you see that the secondary thing is more severe than the original. It itself, it works for the Tmura. Says the Gemara, no. Tmura mekoich kodashim kasu, kachim kasu. V'kachim mekoich chulin kasu. Very simple answer, gewaldic answer. How does Tmura work? Tmura works because you already have a carbon that's a Eilah, that's kodesh, and I'm going to take the kedusha that already exists and transfer it into my larger animal or smaller, it doesn't matter. But the point is, there's something that exists already, there's kedusha that exists, and I'm bringing it over here. But when you try to start from scratch, you take a broken-legged animal and say, hey, I want you to be an Eilah, not a Tmura, an Eilah, there's no kedusha. You want to create a new kedusha. That doesn't work on a broken-legged animal. But if you're trying to take kedusha that already exists in the Eilah and transfer it over here, that works. There's a pasuk here that I was going to show you, but we don't really need it. Here, it just says in the pasuk, does anybody know what the word ra means? What does ra mean in this pasuk? Huh? L'chayr means not as good, but over here it means it has a mum. It's ra. Toiv b'ra ra b'toiv. And then the pasuk says at the end, "V'hoya hu smurasa yekodesh." A balmum does become tmura. That's the nekuda of this pasuk. Okay, we go weiter. How you guys doing? Everything good? We're getting to easier sugyas in a second. Hold on. Hari Pesach, Korban Pesach. Oh, we have a great picture of a Korban Pesach. I love it. You know that how the pole goes through and through this animal. Okay, we're not going to be too descriptive, and then you roast them. That's how it's done. So Pesach, that's the Gemara of Hari Pesach. Do I return smicha unesachim? Oh, again, if you're new to the shir, it's gewaldig. You're going to learn so many new things today. It's incredible. Smicha is that you have to lean on every carbon, put your body weight on it. I can tell you guys never saw the shir. Nesachim, what's Nesachim? This is on top of the Mizbeach. The Kohen pours the libations, the yayin, into a special vessel over there, goes to the bottom of the Mizbeach. The Korban Pesach doesn't get any of this. Utnufas chazav v'shoik. This is tnufas chazav v'shoik. You have to shake the meat just like we shake a lulav. Shake the meat. Okay. So that's the Gemara. Listen to this. A Korban Pesach doesn't get smicha, doesn't get nesachah, doesn't get tnufas. What if you lost your Korban Pesach? You put aside a Korban Pesach, it ran away, so you got a second one. Then you find the original. What do you do with it? After Pesach, you make it into Korban Shlamim. You do then you do have to do smicha, tnufa, everything. So you see that the output is stronger than the source. Says the Gemara, Pesach b'shayim shana shlamimu. The reason is because the Korban Pesach that you don't shecht on Erev Pesach turns automatically into a shlamim, and a shlamim does require tnufa and all that other stuff. How do we know that we're still trying to find the source that if you don't shecht the oila in the northern part of the Azara, then it's ma'akev, it's no good. It's like a second time, it's like a second pasuk with the word ha'oila right over here. And that second time makes it ma'akev. Minala asha minala in the bayitzav. Nu sugi Rabbi. We just finished oila. We know chatos. How do you know asham? Another type of a carbon. A nazir brings a asham. We saw asham shif charufa. This is like 5 ashamais. How do you know that you have to shecht it in the northern part of the Azara? Look at show the whole thing here. The northern part of the Azara. D'chsiv b'makam asher yishchatu es ha'oila yishchatu es ha'asham. In the same, there's a pasuk. The same place that you shech the oila. Where do we shech the oila? We already established that's ma'akiv in the north. So too the asham. Ashkan shchita kabbalah min alon. Oh, we even have this. If you're not following, we could do one of these. Here, how do you know Kabbalah? How do you know the person receiving the blood? Maybe it's like this guy. I don't know if you could see, but right over here, there's the green is the north, and there's one guy. There's another guy standing outside of the green box. How do you know that that's not okay for Kabbalah Saddam? Okay, finally we have in this chart right over here the actual Makabal guy. It says V'es. Now says the Gemara, how do I know that if you don't do it in the north, take the carbon, throw it out, start all over? So Gemara is going to say V'es dam yizruk. Sorry, no, that's not it. V'shochat es hakeves. That's Yoshi. 3:00 in the morning. Came out the wrong box. We have to put in here V'es dam yizruk. We have to put V'shochat es hakeves. Okay, fine. Ask the Gemara, I'm a boy like this Hanya. This V'shochat es hakeves, I need it for something else completely. Davar shoy b'chlal v'yotzel lida b'davar chodesh. Rabbi, so you guys say karbanos? Of course you do. You understand what this is? Davar shoy b'chlal v'yotzel lida b'davar chodesh. Even if you say karbanos every single day, I don't think you know what you're talking about over here. V'yotzel lida b'davar chodesh. Iator shoy lachzir l'klaloi at shechzerena hakazav l'klaloi b'ferish. So what does that mean? We have by the Mitzvah, we're going to see in a second, the Asham Mitzvah. There's a bunch of Ashamis, right? One of them is the Mitzvah brings the Asham. The Torah puts it in a category, all the Ashamis, then all of a sudden takes out and just discusses this Asham Mitzvah. So it's a Davar Shaya B'Klal. This Asham Mitzvah was in the general category, V'yatza, and it went out, Lida Medavar Chodesh. It comes to talk about something new. What happened? Ketzad? The Torah has to come and tell you befurish that you're different. Until then you're stuck in bed. Ketzad? What's the story? So we have a whole long pasuk here. This Asham Mitzvah is like a chatos. There's a lot of extra over here. We know that a Mitzvah has to do very interesting stuff. Here we have a Givaldic video. Check this out. It's a play on the other ones. This is the Mitzvah. That I liked a lot. He has to put the blood on his ear and on his toe. You got to see it again. What he does to his ear. Look what he does to his ear. Because he can't go past that line, so he has to pull his ear inside. Oh, Givaldic. Okay. The Torah says that you have to do something different, very different. You have to put blood on his thumb and on his toe. So maybe this other thing called emurim. I don't want to ADD everybody here, but this is emurim, yeah? A new one for today. He takes the pieces of meat and throws them onto the mizbeach. Givaldic. Maybe since the asham is already so different with the blood on the ear, on the toe, maybe there shouldn't be a murim. No, it's like a chatos. The asham is like a chatos. Just like the chatos requires you have to sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach. You have to put the different pieces of meat on the mizbeach. So too, you have to put the asham mitzayra's meat on the mizbeach. Imkein, says the Gemara. Okay, so what do we have here? Basically, the Gemara is asking this pasuk that you just taught me, that it's ma'akiv. I need it for something completely different. Now what? I need the pasuk to say that the mitzayra has to be in the north. That's what. In other words, I thought that the mitzayra is so different, and that because it's different, you don't have to put the meat on the mizbeach. Kamashon, I need a pasuk that you put the meat on the mizbeach. It's so different that it maybe doesn't need the north. So I need a pasuk that is sham mitzayra is in the north. So I don't have an extra pasuk. You're telling me there's an extra pasuk here. That what? I'm going to learn that it's ma'akiv. No, it's not extra. I wouldn't know asham mitzayra because asham mitzayra is so different because of the blood situation, the ear and the toe. So I think you don't need it. So that's why I need the pasuk. So it's not there to be extra. It's there just to tell me the halacha. They have to do it in the north. Says the Gemara, Imkei nichtei b'hai v'lo nichtei b'hai. So if that's the case, just say the pasuk only by Hasham Mitzayra, and I'm going to learn from the Hasham Mitzayra to all the other Hashamis. Why is there a pasuk by all the other Hashamis and by Hasham Mitzayra? If you're telling me that it's not ma'akiv, that there's not a double pasuk, so if you don't have double, there's no ma'akiv. In Kachim you need two psukim. One is not ma'akiv. So you tell me right now, no, it's not ma'akiv, and I need it by Hasham Mitzayra because it's so different, but it's not ma'akiv. So just say it by Hasham Mitzayra, and then I'll learn it to all the other ashams. Why did the Torah have to repeat itself twice? Says the Gemara, Nicha. So that's why the fact that it said also by Hasham Mitzayra and also by the other ones tells me that it is ma'akiv. It sounds all complicated, but it's pretty simple. If you hold that this Asham Mitzayra is a brand new thing, it's a new chiddush. Okay, what you're saying is great. That if it just said it by Hasham Mitzayra, we could learn all the other ashams from it. Why? Because that's the way it works. It's different. It's a chiddush, and it has a chiddush in it, and I'm going to learn other ashams from it. But what if you hold that you can't learn from it and it can't learn from anybody else? I need this pasuk to tell me by Asham Mitzayra that you have to do it in the north. Says the Gemara, that once we said that the Asham Mitzayra has to put the emurim on the mizbeach, this picture here, show it for a second. That one. So now Asham Mitzayra is like all the other Ashams. So it also needs you have to do the tzafin as well. Memela, now that I have a second pasuk by Asham Mitzayra, so now I have two psukim, and what does that tell me? Two psukim is me'akiv. Real quickly, Rabbi Isai. You know what, let's just finish the sugya. I'll say Lili, then I want to talk about Twillery for a second. Our guy from Twillery, special sponsor today. Legabi matan dama ve'murim. You're telling me that Asham Tzayir is the same as all the other Ashams. Why? Because you put the meat on top of the Mizbech. Maybe that's special. Why? Because that needs a Kayan to do it. We know that even a woman could do Shchit in the Beis HaMikdash. A Yisrael could do Shchit in the Beis HaMikdash. Maybe you don't need to do it in the north. Why does the Torah repeat itself and say that the Asham is like a Chatos? Kishar Asham is here. It should be like all the Asham that you need in the north. Says the Gemara. Let's look at the pasuk, Rabbi Yisai, again. Why is the Torah saying that the Asham is similar to Chatos and a Oila? What do we gain by that? Here. Isn't it enough to say one out of the two? If I would say, if it would only say that Asham is similar to the Chatos, not Oila, how do I even know a Chatos? We started off the shir like that. How do you know Chatos has to be in the north? I learn it. So come out, if I'm learning Asham from Chatos, and where do you learn Chatos from? From Oila. So it's 2 steps removed. That means I can learn from something that the whole source is from somewhere else. I'm learning the Chatos I learned from a Hekesh, and then I take a Hekesh and I learn from the Chatos to Asham. That's too far away. The Oila is over here, Hekesh to the Chatos, and from the Chatos to the Oila. I just saw one of the editors go like this. It's going to be tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem, and the thing. Okay. We'll let them worry about it. Why didn't you just go straight to the source? Learn Asham from the Oila. You know why? Because I need to teach you this idea. By the way, this is going to throw us into the whole sugya now. Tomorrow also. If I learn something, if I learn B from A, could I take B and teach something else with a Kal V'chomer, with a Gzeir Shava, with a Hekesh? Could I do that? With another Hekesh, with another Gzeir Shava. So that's the whole sugya tomorrow. Zokti Gemara, why don't they go straight to the Oila? Says the Gemara, because if I did that, I would think that I could learn, and the Gemara is going to say Mefurish today, but we already discussed it, this idea that you cannot learn. You have to go straight to the source, and you can't learn from a Hekesh from something that was the output. That's only in Kachim. The rest of the Torah, if I learn something from something, I learn B from A, then I can take B and teach other things. That's the rest of the Torah. Oh, if you're telling me that I had a Havamina, that if you learn something, I would have thought that that you could do something like I could learn from this, from the output. So if so, so how come you're not learning from a Chatos? Why are you giving me an example of Oila? I'll tell you why. You know why I went to Oila? Why would I go to Chatos? Why would I learn from Chatos if I could learn directly from the source, which is the Oila? Oh, so the bottom line is, if you're confused, it's not a problem. Just start here. There's one thing that we're trying to accomplish here. The reason why the Torah compares Asham, or teaches us Asham from, and says, you're like a Chatos, like a Oila, to teach us this one idea, that once you learn something, it's the output, you cannot learn anything from it. Fine. Rava Amar, how do I know this? How do I know this idea that a Hekesh cannot, if you learn B from A through a Hekesh, what's a Hekesh? Hekesh is, if I have 2 psukim next to each other, it's not the same word. When you have this word, this one says L'cha, and this one says L'cha, and they're in different chumashim, it's in different parashas, different brokim, that's called Gzeir Shava. A Hekesh means I'm comparing one to the other. Since they're very close to each other, they're in the same pasuk, they're next to each other in 2 different psukim, but they're close, so I'm going to compare one to the other. It's a very, very strong limud, just as strong as Gzeir Shava, and even in some ways better than Gzeir Shava. It's like as if it's in the Torah itself. So Rava says, it says by Parkoy and Mashiach. So I'm going to remind you, we had this, it's beautiful. Check this out. We have Parakoid and Mashiach. And it says over there that you have to sacrifice, you have to put on the Mizbeach, the Yiseris of Shtei Kloyos. I'm going to show you what that is in a second. You know what, let me just show it to you first so that we can get to this chart. This is the kidneys, the Kloyos, and this is the Yiseris HaKavod, the diaphragm. By Par Kohen Gadol, the bull of the Kohen Gadol, when he makes a mistake in halacha, he passes that you're allowed to do a certain aver. He did it, he has to bring a bull. The Yiseris, the diaphragm, and the two kloyas go on the Mizbeach. From that I learn a hekesh, that what? The parhelam davar. That's the bull that when Klal Yisrael makes a mistake based on Sanhedrin, Sanhedrin says that you could do a certain avera, and 51%, most of the majority of Klal Yisrael does the avera. They have to bring one bull called parhelam davar. How do I know that you have to put on the Mizbeach the Yiseris Ushtei Kloyos? I learned it from a hekesh from the Par Kohen Gadol. Now, could this guy, the guy in green, the parhelam davar, could he teach somebody else? No. But we do learn from it another thing, another hakish. Soyer Avodah Zarah. What's the pshat? How could I do that? The middle one is the output. I learned it from Par Kohen Gadol. How does it have the power to teach? So we had the same exact sugya before, but now we're going to do something else. Take a look, because it says in the pasuk Kasher Yuram. So Kasher Yuram makes the middle one as if it's mefurish by the middle one. Once it's mefurish by the middle one, I could teach the one on the left, which is Sorry Avodah Zarah. Let's see inside. Why does it say that? If just teach me that you have to be makriv the Yiseris HaKavod Shtei Kloyos, that says before in the pasuk over there. Now it's Gevalik, it's on a chart. I'm trying to learn the goat of Avodah Zarah from Parhelam Davar. Begufei loiksiv. The parhelam davar, Rabbi side, the middle one doesn't have Yiseris HaKavod, Yiseris and Shtei Kloyos. And you learned it out from the one all the way on the right, the Par Kohen Mashiach. That's why I need the Kasher Yuram. Let's do the thing again. Here. It's geschmack, the way it spins. Oh, boom. I need Kasher Yuram. Then a heavy command, it should be as if Parhelam Davar says it mefurish by it. And it shouldn't be that it's just a plain simple output that it was learned by Hekesh, and in turn it teaches another thing. So what do you see from here? It says Rava, you see from here that a Hekesh cannot teach another Hekesh. Something that's learned by Hekesh. The Parhelam Davar, the middle one, was learned by Hekesh, cannot go ahead and teach another one. How come it's not? How come it doesn't say it mefurish by its in itself? Because I wouldn't know this halacha. I want to teach this idea that you cannot learn from a hekesh. What I mean by a hekesh, that if the whole source, your source is a hekesh, you can't go ahead and teach others. Maybe you should. It's better that it says it, it's very similar to what we said before. The same kind of svara. The reason why the Torah wrote it and made a hekesh, to teach us this idea that what? Once the whole source, like the middle one, Parhelam Davar, is learned by hekesh, it doesn't have the right to teach a third thing. Rabbi Sai, have a good devach. Thank you so much for coming. Have a wonderful day.
Merit the schus of spreading Torah throughout the world. Sponsor a shir today. MDYsponsor.com or sponsor at MDYDaf.com.